that Sophia University card,
it's quite powerful.
It's so funny because it was almost like you went to like a bar or club that was checking ID that they'd even be like, oh, Sophia. Like, oh, sugoi. That level of prestige, like, kind of hit me hard because that's like, to me, that'd be like Harvard or Yale or like Oxford.
Right.
Which there's no way I was going to get into that.
Sophia was quite famous for having cute girls, apparently. I don't know why.
Beautiful girls at Sophia.
It's like the
Bijing
it's
desu
like
ne,
the
like,
stereotype.
Jochi, Bijing oi desu ne.
So.
That was a stereotype for Sophia.
It was. And there were a lot of girls. Like, there are proportionately more girls at Sophia than men.
That's right.
Okay,
3, 2, 1, let's go. Hey everybody, Max here again. Shizuka is also here because we're here again for a Half and Half podcast. This is episode 2. We've made it, guys. We're still editing, but by the time you're watching this, we're still editing. Or we were editing, is what I meant to say. And today, we have another topic that we thought might be interesting for everybody, which is Japanese college.
Yay!
Why did we choose to go to a university in Japan after living our whole lives in, well, for you, Edmonton.
Yeah,
in Canada.
That's right. And you were in North Carolina.
North Carolina. I mean, born in Michigan, but mostly raised in North Carolina. I went to, my story is a little bit different because I transferred from an American university to Sophia University halfway through my undergraduate program.
That's
Shizuka,
right.
You were straight from high school.
Exactly. I did 4 years at Sophia University in Japan. And then I met Max in my second year, I think. And you were an exchange student at that time.
That is correct. This was like 2010. I was a junior study abroad and you were a sophomore.
Was it 2010? Because 2010 was the year that was my first year.
It was... Are you sure?
Well, because in Japan,
this was a while
one thing
ago.
to point out too
we're
is
old.
In Japan, yeah, this was a while ago. But in Japan, usually you start the first year in April. And then in Sophia, you could start in either April or in autumn to accommodate for people who come from abroad. So maybe you came in autumn.
It was autumn 2010.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll kind of get into the details now, guys. But this whole podcast is going to be about why did we choose to go to a Japanese university and some differences that I felt since I did actually go to American university for 2 years. Shizuka did not, but she knows the experience of going straight from high school in Canada to the US. And
not to Japan.
What do you mean? Everywhere is America. America owns every country.
America.
Yeah, we were listening to country music before this.
We were
to prepare for this podcast. I don't know why this has become the thing, but for some reason, I just keep telling my Google Home to play country music.
Max needs some nostalgia before we start.
And real quick, I did want to say, Kai's on the back behind the cameras this time.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm back.
We have a face cam for him this time.
So you can see his great reactions.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about these university stories.
Yay!
Yes, Kai, he didn't go to Japanese university, so you can react as much as you want.
You went to school in Hawaii,
I went to school in Hawaii, yes.
Nice, Ina.
It's going to be pretty different, I feel like.
Yes. All right.
Man, I wish I went to school in Hawaii.
The regrets. So let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. So first, how about Max? How about you? Why did you decide to come to Japan to do an exchange program in university?
Okay. So, I mean, we're both hafu. So of course, we're always we have Japanese heritage. So my mom is Japanese and I always, like we'd visit every now and then over summer break or whatever growing up. Yeah. So it was obviously choosing Japan. It was like the logical choice just because I'm not going to go to like Italy or, well, then again, I am part Italian.
You are Capo.
I am Capo, pronounced Capo for some reason.
In America. Because America.
Yeah, but Capo. It's funny. The first time I met like an Italian person over an email chain, I thought they were calling everyone Mr. last name, Mr. this, Mr. that over the phone. Actually, it was a phone meeting. And so they got to me and so they called my friend Mr. Kashima, Mr. Tanaka, and then they got to me and they're like Mr. Max. I was like, I'm Capo. You could just say Capo, but I feel like it was the funniest thing. The Italian clients that I had a meeting with at this time said Capo, Mr. Max, and I was like, oh.
What? But why?
I don't know.
You think they would at least say Mr. Capo
or Capo, or or ask me, but they just called me by my first name. It was kind of funny.
That's very interesting.
I digress, though.
Digressing, but yeah. So you did not go to Italy to study. You chose Japan mostly because you have family in Japan.
Yeah, and Tokyo was the obvious choice for me. I actually did study abroad. I think a lot of people know this. I studied abroad in high school when I was in a sophomore. So when I was 16 for 5 months in Sendai.
Yes.
And I wanted to go to Tokyo, but they sent me to Sendai. You didn't really get a choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
that's interesting.
I think we talked about this in the very first podcast on the pilot, but
and how your homestay family, you offended them.
I offended them with my rude Japanese because I wasn't saying desu or masu. Yes, so that was my first experience with Japanese education. I don't want to go too into it, but it was a lot of fun. As an exchange student, high school, if you can get in, it's actually a lot of fun because you don't actually have to do a lot of work. You're more or less there just to experience Japan, and like the grades don't really matter that much.
That's cool.
Which, we'll get into this, but for Japanese people going to school in high school, and they have to go after school programs to get into a good university.
Yes, very intense.
And take a very hard test to get into a university. So, me and Shizuka, we both went to Sophia University, otherwise known as Jochi Daigaku, Jochi University in Tokyo, which is a very hard school to get into, apparently.
Yes, for Japanese people, or like for people who lived in Japan.
Yes.
And are entering basically any faculty other than FLA. I think FLA is also very hard to enter if you are not a native English speaker, but there were a lot of Japanese students in our faculty, even though our faculty was all in English. And it was kind of like going to an American school, but a lot easier than an actual American school.
We will get into this, but FLA stands for Faculty of Liberal Arts. It was also known as, this is the Sophia University. It was known as Kokusai Kyoyo Gakubu, which is like Faculty of International, like Kyoyo learning, international faculty. Well, it's just called FLA.
I think it's kind of like simple. International Kyoyo. I don't know. Kyo would be like educational. I don't remember what the kanjis were actually.
We failed. We're failing Sophia University right now. We apologize.
We never really analyze what that means.
I mean, apparently the grades didn't matter, so.
Well, that's in high school.
No, and they don't really matter in college too. But to get into this though, I did not know what Sophia University was. I went to North Carolina State University. After my high school experience in a Japanese high school, I really liked it. I knew I was going to want to go back to Japan eventually. So when I got to college, I did my freshman year at NC State, North Carolina State. Shout out Wolfpack.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay. No one cares. No one cares. It's okay. Oh, you guys are better than I am. So I went to State. And then, I traveled to Japan, backpacked after my freshman year.
You backpacked in Japan?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was like 3 weeks of backpacking. My dad had a bunch of Delta Flyer miles that he let me use.
Cool.
So I just hopped on a plane, and I was like, this is a very Max story, but I jumped on the plane, not literally, but like I got on the plane, landed, and then I was like, oh shoot, I don't have a hotel to stay at.
Oh wow.
So I was like, I guess I'll stay at a capsule hotel because this is what I heard of, but I didn't actually like book a place. So this was like 2009. The smartphones were just kind of starting.
I don't think I saw any smartphones in 2009.
Yeah, it was just starting in the US. Like this was like iPhone 3 status.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Japan, it was all like Galapagos phones, which are like special, like flip phones that were unique to
They're
Japan.
archaic.
And no, but they're archaic, but they're also really high tech. Like way better than any flip phones that were in North America at the time.
Yes.
Which maybe we could talk about that another time because they were super cool.
Yeah. There's the Galapagos
You could watch
phones.
TV on them. You could watch TV on them.
You don't
Even
know
in like
about this guy?
2009.
Oh yeah,
Freaking awesome.
They didn't have smartphones
Yeah.
in 2009, but it was like a phone that would like flip sideways
Yes.
and like get satellite
Yeah.
to watch like
You watch TV on your phone.
antenna.
And it was so compact, and like the screen literally turns sideways, so you can turn it into a TV.
Way more advanced than American phones in that sense, but
Way more.
they could only watch TV. Well, you could
no.
also have like, how did I say? It wasn't like a touch panel. It was like everything you had to do by
With buttons, but I feel like they were way ahead of anything that like modern day smartphones did, because when I visited Japan, like I visited Japan when I was in grade 9, I think, like in junior high school. And then at that time, everybody had these really awesome flip phones that I'd never seen before. I had like crappy Canadian flip phone, and the ones in Japan, like they were so high tech. Like my friend had like a fingerprint sensor on her phone.
That's right,
so you
that's
could
right.
use that to, like,
Fingerprint on a
yes,
flip phone.
on a flip phone in like, so that was way before, that was like 2006 or something. Right? And so I think that was used to like lock the phone, and you know, they had all that fancy stuff. And you can also use the infrared thing, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Sekigai sen, and you use that to like exchange your contact information just by scanning the
it was
phones
basically
together.
like Game
So
Boy,
cool, right?
Pokemon. Did you ever have a Pokemon Gold and Silver or
Yeah.
Red and Blue, and you had the little thing on the top of the Game Boy that you could touch to the other Game Boy and trade like Pokemon? Yeah. It was like it was like no, it was called Sekigai-sen, which is like red infrared tech. So this
Yeah.
was like still being used a lot. So like in some ways, okay, it was the pre-smartphone day, so it was, Japan was ahead of the game
Yes.
in terms of like phone tech,
Yes.
but when they didn't have the idea of like a touchscreen. That was revolutionary. So
yeah, that's true.
basically
Apple
all
did
I'm trying to
that.
say is when 2009, when I visited, I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't really have like internet access, so I was basically just kind of lost, like, and I had to like go to like
Ooh.
I had to go to a real hotel and
Ooh.
ask the front staff saying like, where can I find like a cheap hotel? Like, where can I find a
my
capsule
God.
hotel?
Help me, I can't stay
I can't
here.
stay here with you guys, but I know you're here to help.
That's so
And so
funny.
they helped me get to a capsule hotel. But that, yeah.
That's
So that,
hilarious.
my backpacking in 2009 after freshman year, it was kind of an attempt to be like, I know I want to get back to Japan. So, you know, after a year of university at NC State, I was still like, I wanted to go back. So I
Nice.
I went there, and my dad also suggested like, well, you know, you already studied abroad once, like you should go through like, you know, NC State's study abroad program. And so it was kind of like a little adventure, I guess you could say, going there just to kind of test the waters.
That's cool.
But anyway, when I got back, this for my sophomore year, I was basically ready. I was applying to get into Japanese university for my junior year.
Oh, so how did you find Sophia University?
So I am very lazy. So I didn't actually look it up. I just looked at what was available through NC State.
Okay, cool.
And
cool,
through
cool.
NC State, they had Kwansei, I can't, it was like a Osaka university.
Kansai Daigaku.
Kwansei, it wasn't Kansai. It was like Kwansei.
Kwansai.
I know it sounds like Chinese or something.
Yeah,
but
what? I've never heard of that.
Long story short, I can't remember. Somebody can correct me. There was a university in Osaka, one in like Aomori or something like that.
Wow.
And then one in Tokyo. And the only one in Tokyo was Sophia. And I was like, what is this? I only know like Waseda University and Tokyo University. Sophia University. And my mom, when she found out, it was like, oh, Jochi. Like, oh, Jochi's like a very good school.
Oh,
like, you know, like I was like, I've
right.
never even heard of this, but okay. So, you know, I applied, got in, you know, I'm going to just jump ahead. I got in. It was very easy to apply. I think you just I think your grades had to be at least a 3.0 GPA.
Probably, yeah.
Like something like that. And I got accepted, and then I got in, and then I started to realize just how big the Japanese Tokyo world was, meeting other
yes
Kikoku Shijo, like Japanese
other hafus.
returnees, other hafu people, bilingual people, meeting people from all around the world, like not just I was always meeting people from North Carolina primarily,
right?
So this was also
much bigger world, actually.
Yeah.
You come
It
to
was like
Tokyo,
traveling to the Grand Line from East Blue. Tokyo is the Grand Line. Let's just put it that way.
I remember now. Okay.
So
yeah,
that's where I met you. That's where I met Shizuka at
Yes.
Sophia.
Yes.
So catching things up. 2010. It was my start of my junior year. It was Shizuka's second.
I guess
semester.
it was the end of second semester would have been the end of my first
Right,
year.
because Japanese school, everything starts in April, and then it ends in July. You get August off, right? I think some ish, and then you start school again in if you're in high school and stuff. If you're in grade school, it restarts in August or September. But if you're in college, you start back in October.
Yeah. It would be
The breaks are
October.
way longer in Japanese university.
Was it that long? Really?
Yeah.
I can't remember how long the breaks were.
Well, I think it was like you finish school. Japanese university was like you finish around July, and you're off like August, September.
Really? What did we do for 2 months?
You don't remember?
No,
You don't remember? You just hang out and have fun
a few
and
weeks
stuff.
off, and then was it
No,
2
it
months?
was more. Remember,
Holy
like
crap.
I mean, like winter was like we finished in February. Some people finish earlier, depends on your exams.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like end of January or February, and then you have like a lot of February off. March is off. And
March
then
is graduation.
if
for
you're
most people.
graduating.
Yeah.
And then April 15th is when you usually start again. That was like the Japanese school year.
Nice. You remember the date too.
Yeah, like how do you?
This
I
was
know.
like 10 years
I
ago.
remember when break. It's like oh no, school's gonna start on April 15th. Dang it.
so
That's what I remember. But so the university life in Japan, the first things I noticed that were very different, and I think I want you to pitch in is school was very easy.
Yeah. So
Japanese university was very easy in comparison to American university.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Easy for you guys because you weren't.
No.
So this is a general.
No, in general, like, okay, so let's set up what Japanese universities are like in general. Basically, the whole concept of like schooling in Japan is kids work really, really hard until the end of high school, and they study really intensely, and they have like entrance exams for all the universities they're going to try to get into, and it's very, very competitive. So they all are just studying all day long. They go to cram schools. It's tough.
Not to mention sports clubs. If they're in a
Yes.
if they're in a sports club, it's all year round, and it's like after school every day. So it's like sports and studying.
Yes.
Or just one or the other, and it's
crazy.
Like because in the U.S. and Canada, it's like seasons, right? You can play basketball one season, and then the next season you're free. But it's also kind of like it is serious, but it's also for fun. But Japanese clubs for sports is like
serious,
way more intense.
Yes.
So you're doing this, like you said, your
Yeah.
entire grade school life.
so busy. And I think it's serious to the point that if you're not really going to pursue your sport competitively or whatever in the future, you might stop doing bukatsu in high school, and you're just going to focus on studying. So they're really intense in high school. And then once you get into your college of choice, or like once you get into college, basically you just stop studying. That's how it works in Japan.
You have to take one step back. You have that entrance exam. Was it college juken? Not juken. Nyugaku. What is it called?
Nyugaku shiken.
Nyugaku shiken.
Entrance exams.
Entrance exams. Japanese college entrance exams. This is like the final boss of the grade school. It's like you don't take like an SAT that goes beyond like every university that you can just take your SAT and apply to a school. this specific school has this specific entrance exam.
Yes.
And you have to get like a very good score in order to get in. So that's
exactly.
Sophia University is one of the harder universities to get into.
That's right. So so your mom being like, oh, sugoi, like Jochi Daigaku. It is like, so it is a really prestigious university in Japan, and that's because it is really hard to get into. The entrance exams are hard, and it's really competitive.
Tokyo University, same way, Waseda.
Yes.
It's in fact so hard to get in and so famous that if you have the gakuseisho, the card, the student ID card, and you show it to people, they're like, "Oh, sugoi!"
Do you get like restaurant discounts?
No restaurant discounts, but I've legit been stopped by police and then show them my Sophia card, and then they're like, "Oh,
I'm so sorry."
So yeah, we're saying. No, I'm not even joking.
Me too.
That's how it is.
It's happened to me too. And you might ask, like, why am I getting stopped by police? I also don't know why. But like, the main thing is, like, I ride my bicycle home from the station at night, and like, Japan has this like crackdown on bicycle thefts because I guess it happens all the time. And I was riding my bicycle home like every day, and like, every once in a while there will be police officers waiting or at a corner somewhere. Really? Like, it's always a different place. They'll try to jump you.
Just to check if it's
just
like
to check if it's your bike. And the really annoying thing was that my bicycle was given to me from a family friend, and I guess it wasn't registered under my name. So when they do the check, it's like not my name, and they'll have to like call somewhere, and they'll be like, I know, it's so annoying. And so I just be standing around like at nighttime just waiting for them to do their stupid checks. But like, when I show the gakuseisho, the Sophia card, I'll be like, because they'll ask for your ID, and I'll be like, this is it. They'll be like, oh, Jochiなんですね. Oh, 失礼しました. It's like that doesn't make me like automatically not a thief. Like, I could still be actually stealing this bicycle. I'm not, but like, it's like
you could still be a thief. Yes.
They kind of like wrap things up faster if they see the card.
In the beginning.
Exactly.
Well, no. So I did start showing the best ID to show is the Sophia ID, and I held on to that ID for like a couple of years after I graduated.
I still have mine.
You still have yours?
I think it's in my.
Oh my gosh!
It might be in my. No, I don't have it in my wallet anymore.
It might actually be somewhere here. I'll take a screenshot and put it into the people who are watching this and not just listening on podcast.
Yes.
That Sophia University card, it's
quite powerful.
It's so funny because like you could be stopped for any reason and then you pull it out, and it could even I don't know, I almost feel like it was almost like you went to like a bar or club that was checking ID, that they'd even be like, oh, Sophia, like oh sugoi. So that level of prestige like kind of hit me hard, because that's like, to me, that'd be like Harvard or Yale or like Oxford,
right?
Which there's no way I was going to get into that. And so we looked into it. If you wanted to get into like Harvard, the lowest SAT score you would need is about a 1200 and something. So if you don't remember SATs, there's the English side and then there's the math side. Yeah. And altogether between this, it totals out to 1800, I think. 850, it's like 900 points, I think, is the total you can get, something like that.
Okay.
Per section. So total SAT score that you can get if you get everything right is like 1800. Harvard, to get in, you need like minimum 12 something. Sophia University, everyone has to take the SAT, right?
Yes.
To get into
our
FLA.
Faculty.
So we have to be
English
specific.
Faculty.
To get into Sophia University, to any other department, the normal way just for Japanese university is to take the Nyugaku Shiken, the entrance exam. And apparently, I've never taken it, so I don't know. But apparently it's very hard.
Yes.
FLA, Faculty of Liberal Arts, is kind of designed in this Western, more American way.
Yes.
I'll say American. I don't know if the UK has SATs too. So you have to take the SAT.
Yes.
you took the SAT, right?
I took the SAT, even though we don't use SATs in Canada. So I took it specifically to go to this university, and we also needed to write an essay, and I, for some reason, need to take the TOEFL as well, which is like an English exam for entering universities, even though I'm a native speaker. It was just like, it was one of the requirements. It seems that they've dropped that requirement if you've lived in an English speaking country for X number of years, but for some reason I needed to take it. So I took a whole bunch of tests, and you also needed recommendation letters.
Yes.
So it was kind of an American style way to enter
American
university.
style. And you know, the SAT, once you take the SAT, I mean, you got to take TOEFL too, but we looked this up recently, yesterday. Sophia University's SAT score that they need, the bare minimum to get in is 819.
Ooh.
So an 819 is like less than 50% of all the questions correct on an SAT.
Whoa.
So to put it into perspective, NC State, I believe. Oh, you know what? I apologize. Harvard was not 1200. NC State, the low end to get in was 1200.
That makes sense because if the top is 1800, I thought Harvard would be higher.
Yeah. Harvard is much higher. I apologize. NC State, the low end was like. Let me look this up. Let me just make sure.
Let's double check. Let's take a short moment here to check the correct fact.
But I just know I definitely know like the SAT average score was lower. So SAT average for NC State 610 for reading and writing and 620 for math. So altogether that's 1230. So yeah. So
Okay.
NC State average SAT score composite is 1335. So, you know, I had to get at least on, I was above like a 1335.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
For when I got into NC State. But for Sophia, it only has to be like 819.
Yeah.
Future Max here. I had to jump in and correct myself. 819 is not the SAT score needed to get in Sophia. That's actually just the ID number for SAT scores. Big mistake. I actually might be the dumb one. So I just had to correct this mistake. The number seems to be more likely to be around 1200 according to people posting on Reddit, but there is no official real statistic for what the minimum requirement for SAT to get into Sophia University is. But it's still around maybe what you could say 1200, 1300, which is actually decently high, but not very high. So it does still look to be a little bit lower than some of your ACC schools. But anyway, just had to let you know. All right, back to the episode.
But there is a reason for that. And the reason is because, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of Japanese students who try to get into FLA, the Faculty of Liberal Arts. And I guess, like, I think that they're trying to make it possible for Japanese students to enter that faculty as well. And obviously it would be very hard to take an SAT if you're not a native English speaker. So I think that they've lowered the bar for that particular test just so that Japanese people can enter as well if they've studied abroad for a little bit.
Yes.
So it was very, I think, inclusive. And of course, all the Japanese kids who went to the school, well, not going to say all of them. I mean, a lot of the Japanese kids in our faculty were very smart. Like, they're very studious. They obviously worked really hard to get into that faculty.
I'm almost feeling like it's the Japanese students who were born and raised in Japan that had to study English really hard to get in. But then you had the fair share of amount of people like us who grew up abroad, you know. And I'm not saying you're dumb or anything. I'm not saying that. No,
I wrote a really good essay, I thought.
But it's just like the general idea is when you see somebody from Sophia, like the main thing that people always say is like, oh, atama ii desu ne. Like, oh, you must be very smart to get in. And I was just always like shaking my head whenever I hear that, because I was like, no, like there's so many people, at least in FLA, that I just felt like, there's no way. How are you here?
Like, honestly, the bar for people who grew up abroad was a lot lower to get in. Like, especially with the lower SAT score required, if you are a native English speaker, it was much easier to just get into that faculty.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that we're dumb. I think that we all did very well getting into
I'm not even saying that we're that smart either. Like, I'm just saying.
We're not, like, people are just like amazed when we
we're
say
just
Sophia.
here giving the facts.
We're just like average.
We're just giving the facts here that, if you wanted to get into Sophia University and you lived abroad and you speak native English, your SAT scores don't have to be stellar to get in to a university that now your ID will have so much prestige that even police officers will be startled to know that you were there. So it's just a very funny thing to know because it was surprising to me. Let me just put that.
That's one thing that was very surprising.
So the students there, though, in FLA, you do meet a lot of very cool people in FLA, though.
You do.
Very creative, all around the world, Japanese. Once again, Kikoku Shijo, which means people who grew up abroad but came back, or maybe born in Japan, went abroad for a study abroad program, then came back for college. And, we have a lot of good friends from Sophia that we still talk to.
Yeah, it was such a good, and Sophia University also was not that large of a school. So I feel like it was kind of tight knit, like the people in our faculty in our year. I feel like we knew a lot of people and we're all kind of like good friends within our like year of people.
It sometimes was kind of cliquey in that way.
It was.
With Intako, like international school kids who grew up together their whole life, and then they get into Sophia and it's like the same vibe for them. But then we have us outsiders like coming in.
I want to talk about that because that was one of the things that surprised me when I came to Sophia University. We've talked about it before that we felt that Sophia University or like Japanese universities feel a little bit like high school in North America. Not so much like college. Like it's not like, I don't know. It just feels a little bit more.
It felt like second high school to me.
Second high school. And it was really cliquey. And so that was like the weirdest part for me because I came to Japan knowing no one. And that kind of ties into my story coming into Japan. But my grandparents suggested I come here. So the first like half a year before school started, I didn't have any friends because school hadn't started yet. So I was just hanging out with my grandparents for like half a year. I didn't know where to meet anybody.
Why did you not try to apply to a Canadian university?
I think it was because I was originally planning to. And then my grandparents suggested like, hey, you should come to Japanese university. Like, if you do, we'll help you pay for it. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So that was part of the first reason. And the other part was that I also wanted to pursue like entertainment career. And I thought it would be better. I would be better off in Tokyo, which is such a big city for entertainment. So that was the reason why I decided to just leave Canada. But I came here and I didn't have any friends. I've never lived in Japan before. I only knew my grandparents. And like, so I just didn't know where to meet anybody. So once I started at Sophia, it was so hard to make friends, like to find like a group where I felt like I belonged in, which I didn't really expect to be so hard. Like people were nice, but the thing is like they already had groups of friends like made because they went to like high school together or they were in the same like Sophia's like entrance exam study club, and then so they had like groups, and then I was just like the random like Canadian girl who could speak Japanese but also wasn't like super fluent yet, so I couldn't like hang out with the Japanese kids who were always speaking Japanese. It was like a weird, like I didn't know where I belonged. So what I started to do is I hung out with the exchange students.
Okay.
And then
but they're all temporary.
That's the thing. So like the first semester I made friends with I got along with a bunch of exchange students. We had a great time, and then they left. So then I was like alone again. And I was like, oh no.
There's a handful of people like me though who studied abroad and transferred in.
Yes.
Like during my exchange. I know somebody else who's been on my main channel, my private channel, Matt Cab. He's a producer now. He was the same way. He was going to school in San Francisco. Went to Sophia for study abroad and was like, I want to stay here. So he transferred in.
Nice.
So, yeah. So Matt Cab's also a Sophia University guy. Actually, a lot of...
I didn't know that.
I don't want to diverge so much from your story, but a lot of people who go to Sophia University are like models and artists as in music artists.
Yes. Crystal K went to Sophia, didn't she?
Yeah, Aoyama Teruma
Benny,
went to Sophia.
I think.
Benny Arashiro went to George Takei from Star Trek.
Yeah.
He went to Sophia.
He did. I mean, obviously, a long time ago. And also
new people, like, I don't know who's
the girl who hosts So You Think You Can Dance, Carrie Ann Inaba. She also went to Sophia University.
Wow. Yeah.
So we have like a pretty good alumni list of like famous people.
Not sure why Sophia. Well, yeah, why Sophia? Is it because the SAT scores are low? It's just easy
for entertainers to get in.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just the one that makes the most sense because you know, a lot of these entertainers do go to American school in Japan, and it's like they take the SAT. It's like, well, I don't want to have to do a Japanese entrance exam. Why don't I just take my SATs and apply them to where they can go, which Sophia takes it. So that might be the reason. I'm not sure.
Also, another reason is Sophia University has a very, very long history of, well, it's actually a Catholic school, and it's been around for...
Or it's Jesuit.
Jesuit school, but it's been around for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it also had a really long established like English educational faculty. So I think a lot of people who come from abroad, that's kind of the place to go to. It was like Waseda maybe and Sophia. So yeah, it just has that long history of like connection to foreign countries. So maybe that's why.
So yeah, I mean, Sophia has it's funny because I never had heard about it until I came, but
same actually.
In Japan, it's pretty well known when you say Jochi University.
Yeah.
So anyway, like going back to your story, you said that it was kind of hard to find. Yeah, it was a little bit cliquey. It felt like second high school. The way students acted compared to American university, I felt was more, it's coming from me, it sounds stupid, childish. Like the way that they interacted with other students or teachers felt like making fun of people or whatever, like jokingly. It just
making fun of teachers or
like each other. Like I can't really think of a specific example, but let me diverge from that topic.
I get what you're saying though. Like I don't know what it is, but it does feel kind of like second high school. Like if everybody feels less mature than, like, I feel like people in North American universities. I don't know why it is.
Was it a small school?
It was a small school.
Smaller.
Yeah.
The orientation. I did orientation for Sophia, and it was run primarily by the students.
There was a student club that
There's
organized
a student club called
Sophia Express.
Sophia Express. That it's voted on by whoever wants to do it. So really, you don't know what's going to happen. Like
it's high school.
It's like high school. It's like second high school.
It is high school.
That's what I'm saying. So like, if you're cool, like maybe you join Sophia, or you want to be cool, or think you're cool, whatever. You join Sophia Express, and then you're voted in, and then you have kind of like this control of how orientation goes.
Right.
For high schoolers that are now coming to Japan to do orientation in Sophia.
Yeah.
So when I did orientation, because I transferred in, I actually did orientation when I was 21.
Oh, so you're like 3 years older than...
Yeah. So it was, from my perspective, just seeing like how the orientation students were like treating it. They made us do skits and stuff, and then
we did skits.
It was like the skit that we did was, I cannot exactly remember, but one guy was like made a joke about like during the skit. It's like, yeah, it's just like when I like banged your girlfriend. It was like the guy who he was talking about whose girlfriend he supposedly banged, which he didn't. It was just the joke.
Okay.
Was the guy organizing the entire orientation.
Oh, okay.
And the reply, he was like, he didn't say like F you or fuck you or anything, but it was like something along the lines of that. And it was just like a very awkward situation where there's a guy on stage said a joke, and then like the leader's like, yeah, fuck you or whatever. And I'm like,
crickets.
yeah, I'm like, what kind of What kind of orientation is this?
So awkward.
Like, it's so awkward. And like, you all stay overnight at this. It's not even the college campus because you're just staying at like
middle of nowhere near Mount Fuji.
It was gashku, which is like, it's a retreat
Yeah.
with just the students. And it's just like,
That literally sounds like drama.
it's right. Like, it's just like a dramatic.
It was like a high school camp.
Band camp.
Yeah,
It's
like
band
it was
camp.
like band
It's band-
camp, but with no instruments.
Yeah, so no instruments. So that's what. But when I did orientation in the U.S. with NC State, your students all together, and you're kind of free to do what you want after orientation, but you all stay in the dorms, and there are adults, let's say, like or grad students who are helping run the program and doing checks and planning the icebreakers to make it a welcoming experience for everybody.
Right.
But for Sophia, it just felt like another one of those, like, you gotta make yourself look cool or whatever. It's second high school.
Were there teachers there? Oh, there must have been.
I think there was,
were.
but they leave somewhat throughout the day. I can't exactly remember.
Okay.
But
so yeah, I remember there being a dance party at mine, and it got a little crazy. Little crazy.
Do you want to go
at night.
into it?
No, I don't really remember the details.
Are you sure you were saying it like you definitely do?
No.
Don't add names.
Like,
just
it
what
was
happened.
nobody was even drinking because I don't think that was allowed because we were like 18. And the legal drinking age in Japan is 20. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like somebody had some alcohol, and I don't know, there was like a dance floor, and it was a little weird at first, especially if you consider like dancing with no alcohol on like a dance floor. It's like, why? I don't know, it was just a lot of awkward, but it was sort of fun. And also, I don't know, it was just like a weird thing. I don't know why we even did that. Did you have a dance party at yours?
I remember a handful of people were like, let's buy alcohol from the konbini. Keep in mind, I didn't. I was 21, but I was still like, I'm not going to buy these like 18-year-olds alcohol. But I still like... They did anyway because they barely check, right, at the konbini. Like, and especially if you're a foreign-looking person, you look older, so they don't really check for your ID.
Do they still have the button back then?
The button, no, like just say, okay, I'm above age.
Hilarious.
Yeah, they did. They had the button.
Did they have that? I feel like they didn't have that like at the beginning. It started coming out around.
Oh, you're right. You might be right. They started
2010, maybe.
They used to maybe just ask.
They used to just ask you
for ID, but
no, they wouldn't ask for anything. I feel
oh
like.
yeah, they didn't ask for anything.
They used to not ask for anything, and then they updated their register to have a button where you have to agree that you are
I am above
over
age.
the age of 20, and you just press OK.
It's a reflex now.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm above it.
But I remember when that first came out, because I don't know if I can say this, but I think I did buy alcohol before I was 20.
I think
and
maybe somebody
maybe.
did.
But I remember like when the button first appeared and just being like, oh no, they're cracking down.
Yeah.
They're cracking down.
But it's just a button.
It's just a button. It's just like your heart pounds a
Right.
little bit.
Oh man. But yes, so going the orientation though.
Well, yes, the orientation.
I don't think we had a dance party, but there was the whole like trying to buy alcohol, and then like I don't know, like people trying to talk to the girls or guys or whatever. Like it was just like a little weird, and I was like, I'm just gonna sleep. Like I was
smart.
At 21,
Smart.
I was already too old for that.
Smart.
Like,
yeah.
So it was just weird because for anyone, I think most of the people here are English speakers who probably went to school in America or North America. It's like orientation is still fun, and yeah, like college parties are still like what do I want to say? It's orientation just felt like it was more properly like people aged and progressed to college.
Yeah.
Whereas Sophia, at many times I just felt like it was second high school.
Yes.
Like the way that they treated each other or teachers, because real quick I wanted to get into you didn't really have to, maybe it was because in Sophia and Japanese college you don't really have to study that hard. You just have to show up to class.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
that was the other thing we wanted to touch on.
Which is kind of like high school.
Yeah.
States.
So that's the other thing that makes it like high school. You don't actually have to study that hard. Like North American high school, I mean, you study a little bit, you try to pass your exams, but besides that, you're kind of free to do whatever you want.
You know why though? It's because in Japan they work so hard in grade school. They work so hard to get into university, and it's like you're gonna dedicate your lives to a company after college. So these 4 years, live your life and do whatever you want.
That's right.
Because afterwards you'll just be enslaved in corporate Japanese company. So like so it's kind of like understood Japanese college is not supposed to be that difficult.
Yes.
Unless of course you're like like going to be a doctor.
Good point.
Yeah, you know, like certain schools, like, please be as a doctor.
Doctors, please study. And I'm pretty sure they do study. I hope that they all did study. But yeah, obviously there's certain like, what do you call them? Degrees that you would need to study really hard for, but
not ours.
Everything
I was
else,
international business, and
yeah.
I mean, you want to do good, but you didn't. It wasn't that hard. Most of the stuff that I learned in class, I would take notes and just look up on Wikipedia later. And I would pass exams like that. You didn't even do it.
But I did look at some things on Wikipedia, and that was useful. But there's actually one reason why the school is easier in Japan, I think, is because surprisingly, most people don't use what they studied in their jobs. So basically what you studied does not matter at all. Your degree doesn't matter. Like you could study art history and then you could go into like a law firm. Like it's just like a really random thing.
I know somebody who studied sociology, I think, and became an accountant in Japan.
Whoa. Didn't even study. So basically you enter the company and then you take your accountant exam, which is a totally backward system.
And it's you know, this can maybe link into why Japanese starting salary is so low, which it's like on average it's like 20 something thousand a year, like US.
Yes.
Like I'm giving a broad number in US dollars, but I think it is like ninshu 200 man yen,
it's
right?
very low.
It's
usually
very like, so to put it into perspective, after taxes it's like $1,600 a month.
Yeah, which is like, it's super low. Like you're gonna be living in a small apartment.
Even engineers don't make that much, actually.
Yeah. So your salary goes up with age, but even so, it doesn't even go up that much.
Yeah. Being an engineer in the US, you come out of school making like, hopefully, depending on what kind of engineer, you know, at least like $60,000 a year at a company. In Japan, it's like on average, even after many years, it's like 40,000. Which is crazy because engineering, for my friends who went to NC State, you know, they put in a lot of work in college in NC State. They were doing like, I think I've told this story many times, but their homework, one question took like 12 hours.
What?
And my friend was
Really?
like, he went to the professor, he's like, this question took me 12 hours. Did I do something wrong? And he's like, and the professor was like, no, these should take on average about 10 to 14 hours.
What the heck?
And he was like, okay. He was a mechanical engineer, or electrical.
Whoa!
Sounds terrible.
And he had 5 questions. So he was like, oh gosh.
Holy, like how much time do they give you to do these?
I think he had a week to do it.
What the
Oh my
heck?
god, I waited till the last day and be like, wait, this is like way harder than
Yeah, my friend was like, why did this question take 12 hours to answer? He's like,
Whoa!
But you know, so obviously you get paid more for the work that you do in the US for engineering. I don't know why it's so much lower in Japan.
It's
it
because
just is.
They really, really don't care what you studied at university. Like companies, they really are specifically looking for new graduates, and that's the only criteria.
Because it's cheap.
And they look at what university you went to.
That is true.
So that's what determines how good of a company you can get into. It's like if you went to a prestigious school, you could get into a really, really good company, get a really good job, but you still don't need that much. You don't need any, it doesn't matter what you studied.
Right. Once again, that's another reason why you can coast through Japanese university. You know, just don't completely botch it. But if you graduate, I don't know if they look at GPA. It's almost like, what school did you go to? Oh, you went to Waseda.
Yeah.
Oh, you went to Jochi. You went to Todai. We want you for our company.
Pretty much.
And that's how it is. And looking back, I remember in college too at Sophia, a lot of the students would just not pay attention, or I remember specifically one university teacher from Sophia. She was a marketing teacher. She was Japanese, but she had taught at Boston College, I think, or Atlanta, for 8 years. So she was maybe in her 40s, and then she was new to teaching marketing in Sophia, and she told me that what she heard from the faculty side. So this is the adult side of Sophia.
Okay.
They said, be prepared teaching Japanese students because it's like teaching school to a brick wall. There's like no response. So if you ask a question, no one will raise their hand or shout out the answer. Like in the US, people are very like eager to be like, oh, this.
Yeah.
Like they want to.
They're a lot more proactive.
I don't know. It's just proactive. Like if you know the answer, you feel like you want to answer. In Japan, it's like you know the answer, but you just don't want to say it.
Nobody raised their hands.
Maybe you don't know the answer, but no one raised their hands. We took Spanish class.
I was thinking that too.
And we were me and Shizuka took Spanish class together in Japan. We sat in the back every single day.
Yeah, we did.
Like we're talking like 8 rows back. Like in with tables. So it was far back. And no one would respond to Carlos Sensei.
Yeah, poor Carlos.
So we were just like, I was just making up random sentences like, me gusta lasagna. Like, like, tú tienes un buen día. Like, I would just use like really rudimentary Spanish. Like, you have a good day. Like, and he would cook, but no one would ever reply to his questions primarily other than us.
Nobody answered his questions, and nobody tried to speak Spanish at all in that class. So it was only us, like whenever we had like pair activities, we'd like do the activity and we'd like speak basic Spanish together, because it's not that hard, to be honest. Like they have the example questions, you like follow, you just put in your own vocab. And so we're doing it, and he'd always like make an example out of us. He'd be like, look at Maximiliano, Shizuka. They're like doing their work.
I'd be like, oh, and then I'd get quiet after that. I'm like, oh, don't point us out now. Like now I don't like this. Because and okay, obviously Spanish class you're supposed to talk more, but I feel like a lot of the other students got way too used to not speaking up, because all of the other classes they just sit and take notes, listen.
I don't even know if they take notes.
They might just...
Some of them just... I feel like they just sit
sleep
there.
Like, so...
Isn't that ridiculous?
Like...
prestigious school.
It's so...
I don't know.
So that was another thing I remember, because I did 2 years at NC State, and it was a lot more like you would talk to your professor, make jokes. Like, maybe even if you didn't like the professor, you'd still at least like... he asks a question, you speak up. Like they're way more proactive. People raising their hand and stuff.
Also, like as someone who's taught English, as like we both taught English as a part-time job. We talked about it in the last episode, but like it just seems like it seems rude to not answer their question. Like, and we can think about it from the teacher's perspective, because we did teach throughout university. But it's like you ask everyone a question and they're silent. It's like, what am I supposed to do here? It's like, okay, so I'll just talk to you and you cannot say anything. I don't know. You should answer your teacher's questions. All of you guys. Don't let them talk to a brick wall. It's sad.
Like the funny thing is I never was that proactive in the US because everyone else was.
Yeah.
But when I came to Japan, I was like, fudge, I really have to like speak up because this is awkward. Like,
same. It's awkward. It's so silent.
Like somebody talk to the professor. I don't want to be it, but it's just
the question.
You're like, gosh, I guess I have to do it.
So awkward.
It was so
I know.
4 years of that. It was enjoyable. But you know what? This is very random. But this is very random, but I want to show you this video of
a video.
Yeah, of we need to show the fans of watching like a little bit of what it was like at Sophia.
Could this be one of the YouTube videos that you filmed when we were at Sophia?
No, but there was a few of those.
Maybe I can add a few of those clips too. So if you want to know what it was like,
I can put the links in the description.
You guys have like a Spanish video or something? Spanish
I have some
no,
random
we
stuff.
don't have a Spanish one.
If anyone here watches Jesse OGN on YouTube, he films a lot of his like what do Japanese people listen to videos. Like he stops people on the street and asks them what music they're listening to. He films a lot of it in Sophia, actually.
Really?
It's like in the building 2 area, like
Really?
Kind of near the front gates, like people walk in and out all the time.
Yes.
So he stands around there and asks people, hey, what song are you listening to? So it's a lot of college students, but he films it in Sophia.
So he went to or he still goes to Sophia.
No, he did not go to Sophia, I think.
Oh, he just hangs around in Sophia.
Actually, maybe he does. Maybe he does go to Sophia. I think he finished it, but I'm trying
but it's not that rare for random people to come to Sophia.
This is a video of me dressed up as a Power Ranger punching my friend Victor in
So where did that happen? You were telling me about
it was in the
this.
lunchroom, and everyone hangs out in the lunchroom.
Building 11?
Building 11. It's the Sophia FLA people all hang out in this one building.
That's right, in Building 11 cafeteria.
And like sometimes the other non-FLA people would come in, and you could tell who is like FLA or not.
We're a very international crowd.
FLA people always wore like the hoodies, the Sophia hoodies, and
that's
got scouted
true.
by Abercrombie and Fitch
True.
scouts.
Yes, that's
here
what
we
happened.
go. This is me. Remember this?
This looks really familiar. Who's the Pink Ranger? Oh my god.
So
Victor looks
not,
so
it's
young.
not that different from American
That's so
College,
cute.
you know?
That's so funny.
know, we
That's
still have
Building
fun.
11.
You're the which one are you?
I'm the Yellow Ranger.
Let's go into one other thing here that's unique about Japanese universities. They have something called Bunkasai, which is like a culture festival, and it's a whole big event. It's like a lot of fun. They'll have like food stands and bubble tea stands and like events
Within the college, right?
Yes,
It's just like
in the college campus.
it's almost like a carnival,
Yeah.
but within the school.
Yes. And they'd have like, even at Sophia, they'd have some like big name performers come in every
I
year.
remember.
I mean, not like super, super big, but like relatively big. I can't remember the name of one of them. Is Mew Mew one of them? I don't know. I feel like there's somebody named Mew Mew.
Mew Mew, maybe.
One year there was
Moon?
Mew.
Didn't Moon come? I can't remember. There's a few
So-
there's artists that would perform and people would be like, oh my gosh, they're here.
They come, and it was all free, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so all of the students who go there can like show up. Even if you're not a student, I think you can come in and just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a whole fun event, and there's no school during those 2 days, I think.
It was something like
It
2
was
days,
like-
maybe a week.
There's Zenyasai, and then there's the actual day.
Ah,
Zenyasai
yeah.
is the pre-night of the festival, so there'd be
Yes.
a little like event the night before, and then there's the next day is a full day of just like festivities.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really fun, and part of that was also the Miss Sophia contest, which
Yes.
is I don't know,
It's a
basically a
pageant,
beauty
right?
pageant. Yeah.
I feel they do this in anime too. They do it if you watch anime on slice of life dramas, slice of life style animes. Bunkasai is also something they do in high school. It's like a
Yes,
very,
they do.
it's a cultural festival thing where I think even in My Hero Academia they did a cultural festival, like the band, the
Yes.
entire cast of Class A played music or whatever. So
They do stuff like that.
It carries over into college, and then additionally,
Yes,
they have the beauty
pageant.
side.
And Miss Sophia was actually one of the most famous beauty pageants, even out of all of the prestigious universities in Tokyo. So a lot of people knew about Miss Sophia. So even people who are not going to that school would actually get tickets to watch Miss Sophia. It was actually really big, and I think part of the reason is because Sophia was quite famous for having cute girls, apparently. I don't know why. Do you
beautiful
remember,
girls at
like,
Sophia.
It's like the
Bijin
it's
desu
like
ne,
the
like
stereotype.
Jochi bijin oi desu ne. That was a stereotype for Sophia.
It was. And there were a lot of girls. Like, there are proportionately more girls at Sophia than men.
That's right. It was like
guys.
70% female.
Is it that
60%? I forgot. It was more girls than guys. And I remember a lot of girls would wear like high heels and really nice clothes to school.
Brand bags, high heels. That's how I started wearing high heels, because like all of the girls wore high heels at the school.
I was wearing pajamas to class, and I was like, okay, it's not like America.
Yeah, I feel like guys don't really care as much, but girls seem to put in a fair bit of effort into looking good. My theory is because in high school you have to wear uniforms. So college is the first time you get to dress however you want. You get to flex, you get to show off your bags, like your fancy clothes. So girls dress up really cute, and I don't know, Sophia was known for having cute girls. So the Miss Sophia contest was a big thing, and a lot of the girls who won Miss Sophia would go on to be like famous TV announcers and like go work at Fuji TV as an announcer. Like it was prestigious enough that they'd get hired in these positions on TV.
That's crazy.
Right? So it was kind of like a good career opportunity to be in it. So when I was at Sophia, I think in my last year, I decided to try out for the Miss Sophia contest, because I was like, well, I've always kind of been interested, but I kind of like didn't do it, shy or whatever. And then finally the last year I tried it. So I did the audition. First it was kind of like an interview, but I think I totally misread like what the vibe of Miss Sophia was. I thought I dressed nice, but it wasn't like if you look up, okay, Miss Sophia, apparently they got rid of it this year. Like they're trying to be more like inclusive, and it's not Miss Sophia anymore. But if you look up what Miss Sophia was, all of the girls will always be wearing like a dress that's like very conservative looking, you know, just kind of preppy girl looking outfit.
Okay.
And I didn't wear that at all. I was wearing like jeans, and I wore like
you wore with jeans?
This isn't like an audition interview like college. Like, I don't know. I was like, I thought they're gonna look at your talent and like your, you know, whatever. So
were you dressed similar to this, like you would say?
A little bit better than this. I thought it was I was wearing a nice top.
Okay.
Like it was kind of like a white top, and it was a little bit off shoulder on one
nice
side.
Top, but with
I
jeans.
thought it was nice, and I think it was jeans on the bottom, which was generally my look anyway. So I thought I was fine. And then I did the interview, and I just remember like now I'm like,
oh, what happened? We need the juicy details.
They wanted us to say what our talent was and like any other kind of like skills that you could potentially perform, I guess. So we went in a row. There was like a few people there, and one girl said she was going to sing in like English and Japanese or something, and I was like, damn it, that's what I was gonna do. So
you stole my bit.
So I said the same thing, like that's what I was planning to do, and they're like, well, is there anything else you can do, because there's a few other people who are gonna sing, and I'm like, well, singing is honestly my thing. Like that's what I had been doing for a couple of years. But I was like, well, I can also do monomane.
Oh.
and they're like, そういう感じじゃないので. The girl who was like,
そういう感じじゃないので.
And that means
That's
like,
not...
it's really not that kind of like thing. Like this is really not the style that we're going for. And I was like, okay. I was just like trying to be
it's like,
fun.
damn, you asked me.
I was like, I told you what I was gonna do, and you asked me if I could do anything else. And like literally I can only sing.
Sounds kind of preppy.
It was super preppy. So I was kind of like taken aback by that reaction. I was like,
who is this girl?
So the other thing is like it seemed to be like a student committee again.
So it's a
student committee who's choosing who's going to be in the Miss Sophia contest, and like
they popularity contest.
They were very, and also the girl who was doing the interview, she was in like a black recruiter type suit, so she looked very shikkari and like majime, which is like really like serious. And I'm just here like trying to have fun. I was like, I thought like, I could at least go to the next step, which is the talent audition. I was like, I can do the talent audition. I'm sure I will be good enough for this. And I didn't get called back to the talent audition.
Ooh,
so I couldn't
ouch.
even audition for my talent. And I was like, damn it. So I didn't get into it. But
Do you know the icing on the cake though?
what?
On this, it's that you were Miss World though.
Yes. Well, I wasn't Miss World, but I got
you
into
applied
Miss
to
World.
Miss World instead, which is World is bigger than Sophia.
Way bigger, yes. Yeah, so that's what I can say now. It's like, well, Sophia, you didn't want me, but Miss World Japan did.
Yeah.
Look at you
And
now.
I know you didn't win, but you won some sort of award. For
I
that,
did
right?
get a title.
Yeah.
I was it was the title of like Miss Traditional Japanese Culture. I think that was
Really?
my title, which is a really random
That's
title,
very
but at
random.
least I got a title. So I got to at least have a sash at the end.
Yes.
Yay!
But I remember though, so Miss Sophia University, that was always a thing every year, and I would always be kind of like, what the hell is this? Like, and then there's a Miss Sophia as well as Mr. Sophia,
Mr. Sophia
which
too.
was way less popular than the Miss Sophia contest, but they still had it.
But they still had it, yeah.
And I think, did they do this for other schools like Waseda?
I think Waseda also had a Miss contest. I don't know if they had a Mr.
Okay,
contest.
I can't exactly remember, but yes.
Yeah,
I
a lot
remember
of
that.
the universities had it.
And this year they're getting rid of Miss Sophia and making it just Sophia, because it's like,
yeah, I read
know
some news about
some
it.
people had issues with it, some not, but basically it's to be inclusive for any gender, right?
Yes, exactly.
Which is confusing for like, okay, so now they don't know the credentials. So I remember that there's like some discussion of like, how do we judge this Miss Sophia contest now without the
beauty pageant aspect of it.
There's just, where's the category? So I don't know how
Exactly.
that's going, but Miss Sophia as it was no longer exists.
No longer exists. And I mean, I would have to agree that I think like beauty pageants are a little bit archaic. But I guess we can talk about this another time, but like Miss World did make me realize that there's a lot more to it than just looking good. Like it was a very demanding contest. And I think it did make me grow as a person. So I'm not against them, but it is weird to judge solely on looks for sure. And that shouldn't be such a big aspect of it. So maybe it is about time that we got rid of like Miss Sophia
Yeah.
and made it more inclusive. So I'm excited to see.
I never even watched one of the competitions. Miss Sophia, I would always be like, what is this? I don't care.
But a lot of people did care. A lot of people paid
did
money
care.
to go see that like
I know
competition.
other school. I mean, FLA had Miss Sophia. I think before one of the winners was an FLA member. One year. And real quick, I think it'd be good to also mention, FLA was Sophia, but the Waseda also had their own international school. So if you're interested, if you're of college age looking into going to a Japanese university, FLA is the Sophia version of the English speaking courses.
Yes, faculty
of liberal arts. All the classes are taught in English. Basically all the classes are taught in English.
Yeah. And Waseda had SILS.
Waseda has SILS, which is basically the same thing.
I don't know what it stands for anymore.
I don't know either. KO,
I don't know.
I think, had one. And
KO's
all the time,
faculty's newer, I think.
I'm not exactly sure, but these universities would always like kind of have, like they would go to each other's like like bunkasais, each other's
Yes.
like culture festivals. People, it was not too uncommon to have friends in these other FLA, SILS, and KO. It was like this triangle,
Very
which
true.
sometimes included ICU, which is International Christian University, and then Aoyama Gakuin.
Yes.
And all these groups would kind of, it was such a small world because there's only so many Japanese English speakers that are Japanese or hafu going to these colleges at the same time. So they would often also host like mixer events, like parties, like going to clubs.
Like
that
club
was a lot of fun.
parties. These were a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, it was a very cool chance to like meet this like community of students who were really like us, like from abroad or like, you know, grew up in Japan, but they speak English. So it was a really cool, like unique sort of tight-knit community within Tokyo.
I would equate it as something similar to, you know, it kind of works for me being from North Carolina, but there was Duke University, NC State, and Chapel Hill. These were three very big universities all in the same area that had the ASA, Asian Student Association, which was a very small number because it was North Carolina, that would also have mixers and people would kind of go around.
Oh, cool.
Just the Asians and half Asian, like, and friends of Asian people would go to these mixers and all like kind of like go to each other's places. So that's kind of also how Sophia was with Waseda, KO, ICU, and you get to meet all those same types of people, and it very cool, just like the international world here in Tokyo. And that's
Definitely,
why, you know, Kai is starting to, I feel like you're slowly seeing how, like me and Shizuka just know like these other people from, like,
feels like the whole community is pretty connected.
It's
very connected.
Be very connected,
yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's for good though.
Yeah.
Usually it's a good thing.
I was talking to some Sophia girls last weekend. They're younger than us, so they graduated only a few years ago, I think. But they were saying that they still, like, they really felt it was tight knit too, and like you can go to Shibuya and you'll bump into people that you know.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because thousands of people walk through Shibuya every day. So it's like, what are the chances of bumping into somebody you know there? But it happens a lot, like even to us too.
Sophia people and international Japanese people have a certain look that it's just easier to you stand out in the crowd. Obviously, if you're half Japanese, you stand out already.
Yeah.
But you always hang out.
Fashion looks different too. So
yeah. So it's even to this day, 10 years later, or however 12. Well, you started in 2010.
Yeah.
I started college in 2008. So even after all these years, you still bump into people, and the Sophia link is still pretty
strong.
Cool. It's pretty strong.
It is strong. We're still friends with people from Sophia.
It is strong. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that covers pretty much everything we have to say about going to college in Tokyo.
Yes,
it was a lot of fun, and there are, you know, pros and cons, of course.
Do you regret it, or are you glad you did it?
I'm very glad I did it. If not mainly because it was so easy. So like I didn't have to study very hard. I did study though. Like I did study.
Yeah, it's not like you zero study. You still have to do work. But.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about it though is like there's a little bit less pressure. So you can enjoy studying. Like you can pick courses that you like and like you can kind of enjoy studying them. And there's not a whole lot of pressure.
And a lot of time to do part-time work, which is what you did.
Yeah.
You got your first TV show in college.
Yes.
For a kids program, which maybe we'll talk about that in a later episode. But
we'll talk about that another time. I was scouted at Sophia, so.
Oh yeah. See,
yeah.
Yes. So
that was
there
the whole
are
thing.
A lot of opportunities just by being in Sophia or
in the
being
campus,
in the right location at the right time.
That's
as they
right.
always say.
That's right.
All right. So is there anything else we should?
I think that covered pretty much everything, to be honest.
Yeah, graduation, post-grad. I mean, yeah, once you graduate, you get out into the Tokyo world and you still meet Sophia people. So all around, I think it was a good experience, but really, I'm happy I did 2 years in the US. I mean, I was lucky enough to do it.
You got to experience both.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I got to experience the American house parties. Yeah.
I wish I'd done that. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Japan
doesn't have that.
No.
Tokyo doesn't have that.
It's really hard to have house parties here, period. Like, because because the apartments are so small.
Yeah, you just go out instead.
Yeah, exactly. But the club scene was fun.
Yeah.
During those college days.
So all in all, I'm glad I did it. I have a degree now from Sophia, which, you know,
it's like you don't use for anything at all.
I just remember like at graduation when I got the degree, I was just like, just give it to me. I almost ran off. I was like, I'm done with the school. I have like this funny relationship with how I see Sophia. It's like I think it was like a great experience, but I also think it's not like the best school, but I had a great time and great experience.
Yes.
So
it is a great time, but you might not learn that much. You kind of take what you want from it, basically.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the one downside I would say is that since it's a faculty of liberal arts, you're going to end up with a liberal arts degree, which is not really specific on anything unless you do business. So you don't really have like a specialty. I mean, I studied sociology, but I feel like I didn't really like research one particular topic that I'm like super knowledgeable about. It was more like studied a lot of different things about sociology that I was interested in. So I left with a lot of, I don't know, I think just knowledge. I'm going to say knowledge that helped me like get a better worldview.
Okay,
so it was nice, but I'm not an expert about it. So that's one thing that I feel like I would have been, maybe better off going to a school in like Canada. Also, just having the credential that you went to Sophia. Honestly, it did open doors sometimes for me. So I'm going to recommend going to one of these top universities if you can when you're coming to Japan.
It was fun.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy listening to us ramble about universities for a while today.
This could get even longer. I mean, we have other people, other friends, like we said, who went to Sophia that we could talk even more about this for sure.
Yeah, so if you guys have any more questions about it, like feel free to let us know in the comments and maybe we can talk about it again on another episode.
Yes, on the Half
and Half
podcast.
Yeah,
thanks for
tuning in. Bye guys, see you next time.
Bye everyone. Thanks Kai.
Bye, guys.
Oh, thanks Kai.
His camera died. It's okay.
There's Kai.
We got it. Thank you.
All right, see you guys next time.